You're 19 years old. Last month, you were working a summer job at a gas station in a small town in Ohio. You had a girlfriend, a used Chevy pickup, plans. Then the letter came. Greetings from the President of the United States. And just like that, your plans were gone. Replaced by something nobody could prepare you for. Something that would break a part of you that never fully healed. This is the story of an American soldier's 365 days in Vietnam. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you will never look at a veteran the same way again. The plane touches down at Tan Son Nhut Air Base on a Tuesday morning in 1968. The moment that door opens, the heat doesn't just hit you. It swallows you. It's thick, wet, and heavy in a way that summer in Ohio never was. You're breathing air that smells like jet fuel, burning garbage, and something else underneath it all that you can't name and will never forget. Around you, 80 other soldiers are stepping off the same aircraft. Fresh haircuts, stiff new uniforms, and eyes that are trying and failing to hide the fear. You're processed, fingerprinted, issued an M16 that feels lighter than you expected. Someone hands you extra socks and says, "Those are more valuable than bullets out here." You laugh. They don't. At night, the artillery starts. Not close, just distant rumbles rolling across the horizon like thunder. The veterans in the bunks around you don't even flinch. They sleep right through it. You don't sleep at all. You write your first letter home. "Mom, I'm safe. The food's not bad. Don't worry." You don't tell her about the artillery. You don't tell her about the fear. And you don't tell her that every time you closed your eyes that night, you wondered if you'd ever see her face again. Here's something the history books don't tell you. The thing that terrified soldiers most in Vietnam wasn't the enemy. It was the waiting. The silence before the gunfire. The step before the mine. The moment right before everything changed forever. Keep watching, because what happens to this soldier at day 73 changed everything. Your assignment comes through. 1st Infantry Division. A fire base near the Cambodian border. A place the veterans call a hot zone in a tone that shuts down any follow-up questions. The helicopter flies you in low over a country that looks almost peaceful from the air. Green rice paddies, thatched roof villages, rivers threading through jungle like veins. Beautiful. But the door gunner never takes his eyes off the tree line, never relaxes his hands on his weapon. When you land, your new platoon is already waiting. 40 men who look like they've aged 10 years in 6 months. Lean, sunburned, their uniforms faded and patched. They look at you and the other new guys with an expression somewhere between pity and indifference. They call you FNGs. Effing new guys. You haven't earned a name yet. Your squad leader is a corporal named Ramos, 22 years old. Looks 35. He gives you the speech every Fing gets. Keep your head down. Follow orders. Don't do anything stupid. And forget everything they taught you in training. The manual gets you killed. We keep you alive. Your fire team includes Jackson, a fast-talking kid from Detroit who fills every silence. Miller, a quiet farm boy from Iowa who communicates mostly in nods, and Patterson, who's been in country for 11 months and has a calendar inside his helmet, with each past day crossed off in red. Marker. 24 days left. Everyone calls him short. You ask Patterson what it's really like. He stares at you for a long moment, then looks away. "You'll see," he says. "The first 6 patrols are uneventful in the way that only makes you more afraid. You move through jungle so thick and dark, you lose track of what time of day it is. You pass through villages where the people watch you with expressions you cannot read. Every old man, every woman carrying a child, every kid who waves from a doorway. Anyone could be the enemy," Ramos told you. Anyone. Then comes day 73. It's a morning patrol. Routine. The heat is already brutal by 0800. You're thinking about home, actually. You're thinking about a cheeseburger. Specifically the cheeseburger from a diner 2 blocks from your house, when the world simply ends. Jackson, on point that day, trips a wire. The mine detonates with a sound that doesn't just hit your ears, it empties your brain. A column of dirt and smoke erupts from the trail. And then the shooting starts from both sides of the tree line. Muzzle flashes in the green shadows, AK-47s. The crack of rounds passing close enough to feel. You don't think. You drop and fire in the direction everyone else is firing. Brass casings fly. Gunpowder fills your nose. Your hands are shaking so badly you nearly drop your second magazine. The firefight lasts 5 minutes. It feels like 5 years. When the silence comes, it's somehow worse than the noise. Medic. Medic. You move forward with the others. Jackson is on the ground. There is blood everywhere, more blood than you knew a human body could hold. His leg is gone below the knee. Just gone. And he's screaming in a way that doesn't sound human. You cannot move. You cannot look away. Patterson moves past you, calm, precise, focused, and gets a tourniquet on. The medic calls for a medevac. When the helicopter comes and they load Jackson onto the stretcher, he looks at you as they lift him up. White face, blue lips, eyes that have already seen something you haven't yet. You will never forget that look. That night, you don't eat. You sit outside and stare at the dark. Miller sits down next to you. Says nothing for a long time. First time? He finally asks. You nod. It gets easier, he says. Then, after a pause, no. That's a lie. You just get used to it. The Tet Offensive is considered one of the most shocking moments of the entire Vietnam War. It changed the way Americans at home understood the war. But for the soldiers on the ground that night, it wasn't a turning point. It was just another night where they almost died. Here's what actually happened. The months roll into each other. You learn things you never expected to learn. How to sleep through artillery. How to eat cold sea rations without tasting them. How to move through jungle in total silence. How to tell the difference between a bird and a tripwire by the sound it makes when you disturb the underbrush. Patterson goes home. He doesn't say goodbye. He just walks to the helicopter and doesn't look back. His rack is empty for 2 days. Then, a new thing takes it. You are no longer a new guy. You're not a veteran either, not yet. You're somewhere in the middle, the most dangerous place to be, not cautious enough like the FNGs, not careful enough like the short-timers, just there. The rains come. For 2 months it rains every single day. Not the kind of rain you grew up with. This is biblical rain. Rain that turns trails into rivers and foxholes into swimming pools. Everything you own, your clothes, your letters from home, the photograph of your mother, is wet. Your skin splits. Jungle rot sets in. The medic hands out antifungal powder that doesn't help. Everyone has it. You lose 2 men in 1 week to ambushes that use the rain as cover. And then comes January 30th, 1968. Tet, the Vietnamese Lunar New Year. There is supposed to be a ceasefire. You are assigned base security. An easy night. And then at 2:00 in the morning, the mortars start. Not random fire. Coordinated. Dozens of rounds slamming into the base simultaneously. You are running for the bunker before you are fully awake, the ground shaking under your feet, explosions lighting up the dark sky orange and red. Then, the ground assault begins. North Vietnamese Army regulars, not guerrillas, attacking in organized waves, firing as they advance, blowing holes through the wire with satchel charges. You take position in a fighting hole at the perimeter and fire until your barrel glows. The battle lasts until dawn. When the sun comes up, the ground in front of your position is carpeted with enemy dead. Your platoon held. You lost 3 men. 15 were wounded, but sitting there in the gray morning light, hands shaking, ears ringing, uniforms soaked in sweat and other things, It does not feel like a victory. It feels like something broke. Something inside you, and inside this war that will not be fixed. You are short now. 2 months left. 60 days. You mark them on your helmet the way Patterson did. The way everyone does. Everything shifts when you're short. Before, you took risks because you had to. Now you have something to lose. You can see the finish line. Just 60 days away. But 60 days in Vietnam is a lifetime. A new Fing arrives. His name is Thompson. He's 18 years old, from some small town in Ohio, and he asks you the same questions you asked Patterson 10 months ago. What's it like? How do I stay alive? What should I know? You look at him, this kid with his clean uniform and wide eyes, and you see exactly who you were when you stepped off that plane. Someone who knew nothing. Someone who thought knowing the manual meant knowing the war. You tell him to keep his head down. Listen to his squad leader. Stay alert. The same words Patterson gave you. Thompson gets hit by a sniper 3 weeks later. Single shot to the shoulder. He'll survive. He'll go home. As they close the medevac door, he looks at you. And you recognize the look, the same one Jackson gave you. You wonder if your eyes looked like that once. 13 days. 12. 11. The dreams get worse as you get closer to the end. Every night you're back in the jungle, running, but your legs won't move. Hearing them coming, never finding the way out. You wake up gasping, heart hammering, drenched in sweat. 7 days left. They pull you off patrol. Short timers don't go to the field in the final week, bad luck, they say. You're assigned to base detail, filling sandbags, burning trash, meaningless work, safe work. You watch your platoon gear up and move out without you. Miller catches your eye as they file through the wire. He nods. You nod back. You don't say goodbye. Most people think the hardest part of Vietnam was surviving it. They're wrong. The hardest part was coming home. The day comes before dawn. You shower. You dress in the clean, pressed uniform they issued you. You look in the mirror and see a soldier. You feel like an imposter. At the airfield, dozens of other short-timers are waiting. Nobody talks. Everybody is superstitious. Until the wheels are up, until you're over the Pacific, nothing is certain. You've heard the stories. Mortars hitting the tarmac during boarding. Men who made it 364 days. The plane is a commercial 707. White and gold livery. Flight attendants in neat uniforms who smile at you. Actually smile. And you realize you had forgotten what that looked like. The engines roar. The runway disappears beneath you. Vietnam falls away through the window. The base, the jungle, the rivers, all of it shrinking, dissolving into clouds. Someone in the back of the plane shouts. Then the whole aircraft erupts, cheering, crying, men hugging strangers. A year of fear and tension and death released in one single moment of pure, desperate joy. You don't make a sound. You just watch the clouds until there's nothing left to see. The first weeks home are the hardest. Your friends want to hang out, take you to parties, talk about football, about college, about girls, normal things, good things. And you try. You genuinely try, but you can't connect. They feel like people from a different species, talking about things that feel impossibly small. One night, someone sets off fireworks in the backyard. You are on the ground before you know you've moved. Everyone laughs, thinks you're joking. You laugh too. You brush off your clothes, finish your beer, and leave early. You stop going out. The nightmares don't stop. The hypervigilance doesn't stop. You sit in restaurants with your back to the wall, scanning exits. You flinch at car backfires. You wake up at 3 in the morning and for a terrifying moment, you don't know where you are. Your mother asks if you're okay. I'm fine, you say. Because that's what you say now. Fine. Months pass. You learn to function around it. Learn to build a life that looks normal from the outside. But inside, part of you never left. Part of you is still 19 years old, still in the jungle, still counting down the days. You think about the men who didn't make it. You think about Jackson and Henderson and the kid in the village with the dark eyes. You think about all of it, every day, whether you want to or not. That is what war costs. Not just the lives it takes, but the ones it sends home changed, carrying something invisible and heavy that never fully goes away. Over 2.7 million Americans served in Vietnam. 58,000 of them never came home. And hundreds of thousands who did come home carried the war inside them for the rest of their lives. In their dreams, in their silence, in the distance behind their eyes, when you ask them what it was like, and they say fine. It was fine. The next time you see a Vietnam veteran, at a gas station, at a diner, sitting quietly on a bench, remember this story. Remember what those 365 days cost them. Not just the year they gave, but everything that came after. They deserved better then. They deserve to be remembered now. If this story moved you, please share it, because the least we can do is make sure people understand what these men went through, and never forget the price that was paid. Thank you for watching.